It's hard to believe, but we're heading into the final weekend in September. So far, our local teams have been pretty easy to predict. Will that change? Can the Saints play better this weekend at Buffalo and at least make a game out of it? Will LSU finally make the statement their fans have been waiting for? And can Tulane open American Conference play in style at Tulsa? It's Fun Friday, so we'll have the weather outlook with Damon Singleton, previews of our teams, and picks with Zach Ewing, and the best bets of the week with Gabe, UBN, and I. We have a lot to get to, and I had to do play-by-play in 8 hours, so we need to start the Dattitude podcast, like, right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Can someone slow the clock down and the calendar down, all of that? Slow it all down. Can you believe it's the last weekend of September? One more show after today before we turn the page to October. Look, I'm all about cool weather, Halloween, Thanksgiving around the corner, but this is crazy. You know what? Speaking of crazy, this is Dattitude, episode number 420. Don't get any silly ideas. It's presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, September the 26th, 2025. If you don't already know, if you're new to the show, I'm your host, Jim Derry, 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. Maybe every show is episode number 420, the way things have been going lately. Thanks for being a part of the Dattitude family. What is special about this show? Not just today, every day. Every day we have a show, which is 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. You can be a part of it. How do you do that? Well, you type in your comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be glad to show it and talk back to you. Sometimes we're nice. Most of the time we're nice. Sometimes we find the dumbass of the week. Anyway, whatever you're doing, if you're not watching the show live, I should say, if you're listening because you don't want to see my ugly mug, you can listen on any of the major podcast platforms. You can get in touch with me on X, Jim Derry Jr., via email at jderry@theadvocate.com. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our YouTube page and give us a second. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, whatever it takes. I don't know. Is it like, thumbs up? I don't know. Whatever it is, give it to us. We need it. The algorithm says it's good for us. Anyway, time to move on. What is on today's show? You know what is on today's show. It is Fun Friday. That means we're going to be getting to the weather in just a minute. Damon Singleton, we recorded our segment this morning. And for the first time this year, and it only happens twice all year. It's kind of like, what is it? The harvest moon, the strawberry moon, whatever. It's like the phases of the moon, except that happens, I guess, once a month. I don't know. How many times do they have the different moons? Sometimes it's just a full moon. Sometimes it's a special moon. I never understand it. It always just looks big and out there to me, but twice all year, the Saints, LSU, and Tulane are all on the road. That happens this weekend. The only other time that happens is November the 8th and 9th. So if you enjoy just sitting back, watching your teams at home, if you're a regular goer to either LSU, Tulane, or the Saints, sometimes you like a break, and you got one this weekend because they're all on the road. I know I got friends who go to LSU games and Saints games. I have friends who go to Tulane games and Saints games. So there you go. You got a break this weekend. No excuse then to just chill out and enjoy the weekend at home. Again, it only happens one other time, and that comes up in about 5 or 6 weeks, November. I guess 6 weeks, November 8th and 9th. A little side note tonight, as always, I'm doing play-by-play on Varsity Sports Now. Shaw and Lafayette Christian Academy, the number 1 team in Class 2A, also the number 1 team in select Division III power rankings. Shaw has had a rough start to the season at 1 and 2, but they've played some tough teams. They played the team I think is the best team in the state, regardless of class. That's Carr. Lost the megaphone game last week. They're 1 and 2. They beat up on West Jeff. What's going to happen tonight? We'll see. should be a good game. I'm looking for a good game. Also, did you see what's going on in Ryder Cup? Maybe the only person who cares is UBN, but your quick update is that right now the United States so far getting their asses whooped. It was the last I looked, it was 3-0, and we were winning. The United States was winning that last match with Xander Schauffele. I can't remember who he was playing with, but it was going to the 18th hole. U.S. was up 1 and up, whatever they call it. 1 up is what they call it. Yeah, so they got to win that one. So hopefully they'll hold on, and it'll be at least 3-1 going into the afternoon session this afternoon. That lasts all weekend. Will you watch any of it? There's so much football on. I'm going to try to I care enough to watch a little bit of it, but I won't be home to watch this afternoon. So we'll see. Usually golf doesn't compete well with football in my house, but we'll see how that goes. All over the place this morning before we get started trying to cram it all in. What did y'all do for Daughter's Day? I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook. You can go check it out. I did not put it in here, but I had a great time yesterday evening. My wife is out of town for the weekend. She's got a work function in Miami. So it's just me and the girls. And so my 2 daughters and my daughter-in-law, who's my daughter, we went to dinner last night. We had a good time with my 2-year-old grandson. We had a blast. We had a little pizza, a cool little place on the North Shore. Free shout out called Terra Pizza. I highly recommend it. It's in Mandeville. It's kind of a combination of this. I know it may be strange for some people, but it's an interesting combination of Middle Eastern and pizza, and it works fantastically. So anyway, we went there last night. Had a great time with my girls last night. Happy Daughter's Day, all 3 of my daughters, Ella, Lucy, and Claire. So there you go. That's what I did. Did any of y'all celebrate Daughter's Day yesterday? I know that's kind of a social media thing. I'd never heard of it till a few years ago. But yeah, you know what? I think it's not everything with social media is bad. Actually, I think that one's pretty cool. So we enjoyed that. We did that last night, and glad I got to spend some time with my daughters and my 2-year-old grandson, who's definitely coming out of his shell. That's for sure. Did you see the game last night? Seattle and Arizona. Gabe got it right. I got it wrong. I'm glad I did not make a best bet out of it. I told you, and we both said neither one of us liked it as a best bet. And I had a feeling Arizona was going to come back. I know this sounds weird, but when Jackson Smith and Jigba had the holding penalty that kept Seattle from scoring that touchdown, I had a weird feeling that Arizona was going to win the game. I almost went and I'm glad I didn't. I almost went and put more money on Arizona. I didn't. And I was kind of like, maybe I should. Man, I would have looked like a genius if I would have done best bet on this game. And then, a couple minutes later, Arizona scores. I'm like, they scored a little too quickly. And then the dumbass, look, I like the kickoff rules. I know a lot of you don't. I like the kickoff rules. But if you're a kicker and you can't find a way, what the hell was that on that kick at the end? That was just a complete whiff. The dude kicks the ball, it doesn't land in the landing zone to get the ball to the 40. You deserve, if you can't kick the ball past the 20, between the 20 and the end zone, you deserve what you get. Arizona got what they deserved. They didn't deserve to win the game anyway. But, I mean, I would have liked them to win. It would have been cool, but they didn't. Anyway, fun game if you missed it. I think the final was 23-20, but it was 20-6 with about 6.5 minutes left. And, again, Seattle, it looked like they had scored a touchdown. Got it called back on a holding penalty. So instead of going up 3 scores, they went up 20-6. Arizona with 2 pretty quick touchdowns. That last touchdown came with about 30 seconds left. And then, like I said, the kicker missed the landing zone. He kicked it. He tried to just kind of line drive kick it. And he was going to kick it. The idea, I guess, is if you land in the landing zone and it goes out of the end zone, then they get the ball to 20 or I forget whether it's the 20 or the 25. I don't remember. Anyway, it's not the 35, like if you kick it out of the end zone. If it lands in the landing zone and it goes through, they have to try to return. If they can, I think it goes to the 20. But regardless, they try to get too cute. Just kick the damn ball off. Make them return it. Not only are you making them return the kick, but you're actually running time off the clock at the same time. I don't understand why they're trying to get too cute. If it doesn't touch the ball, then no time runs off the clock anyway. Anyway, just didn't make any sense. It was a really horrible special teams play for Arizona. And, it was interesting because, the Saints have played both of those teams already. Obviously, Arizona had a chance to win the game. Seattle got their asses kicked. And we saw that the Saints probably aren't as good as they played in that opener and aren't nearly as bad as they played last week. We're going to get into all that. Zach Ewing coming up in a little bit. Again, we got Damon Singleton in about 11 minutes from now. We're going to show his clip talking about the weather. What's the weather going to be like in Buffalo? What's the weather going to be like in Oxford, Mississippi? What is the weather going to be like in Tulsa for the Tulane game? And let me just give you a little spoiler alert. It's going to be like it's almost like it's supposed to be in September. It's going to be very nice. So anyway, last weekend of baseball, do any of you care? There's no real exciting races, I guess. Kind of for positioning, maybe. The Mariners won the AL West. I'm going to ask Zach, who's a big Mariners fan, if y'all don't know this. Who's going to win the AL MVP? Is it going to be Aaron Judge or is it going to be Kyle Raleigh? Kyle Raleigh, I mean, some people think just because he hit 60 home runs. Gabe says Kyle. I would vote for Aaron Judge. I'm not saying Aaron Judge is going to win. People, I hate the Yankees. They're boring. We'll do something different. Dude hit 60 home runs. Who gives a shit? Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. Yep, better than Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion. And even if he's not better than Shohei Ohtani, I mean, who means more? Did you see what the Yankees did when Aaron Judge went out? They sucked. Okay? This is a team that I think has a chance to win the World Series. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series. I think they have a decent chance to win the World Series. The Mariners have 0.0 chance to win the World Series. 0.0 chance to win the World Series. I mean, it's a nice story now. Anyway, we'll get to that. I know what Zach's going to say. We've already talked about it, but I'll let him talk about it. And lastly, before I get to the comments, I saw a funny story over the weekend. We were kind of making over the week, I guess. Remember Sean Alexander, the running back from, speaking of the Seahawks, dude, see his announcement this week? He's about to have his 14th kid, dude. Speaking of Daughter's Day, I don't even have Daughter's Day I guess when you get that kind of money, it doesn't matter. 14 kids. Do you need 14? What are you trying to start a TV show? They already had that show. It's not new. What are you doing? Guess you've had a lot of fun in retirement. 14 kids. What do y'all think about that? I just look. I'm telling you right now. I got 3. And when I found out I was having a third one, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Can't imagine what I'd be like when I found out I was having a 4. I mean, maybe you get numb after like the 5th one. I don't know. And I know it's probably not the same for uber rich people. I don't know. You have people to help you. I get it, but still, 14 kids, dude. I know. It's life without football is probably different, maybe even boring to some extent. But come on, man. All right, comments coming up. Tell me what you think. Again, we got Damon coming up in about 6 minutes. Zach after that. We're going to take comments all day long, even during our best bets, even when Zach's on. We got plenty of time to take comments today. All right. Before we get to the comments, before we get to Damon, before we get to best bets, before we get to the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Security. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can help you figure out what that business is worth. If that's you or someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. Can you imagine how important this service would be to you if you had 14 kids? I mean, maybe they can even help separate the business for playing the exit process, for trying to split up that business for 14 kids. Getting way ahead of myself. Anyway. Nick and Ron will help you become well-informed, begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Oh, yeah, plenty of kids, I guess. Fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check it out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right, we got 7 minutes. 7 minutes for comments before we get to Damon this morning. Who's first? Daryl Hayden is first. Good morning. It is show number 420. Watch yourselves, boys and girls. Watch yourselves. Just saying. Happy Friday, says Charles Mangus. May the force be with us. Charles Mangus also says, lay off the coffee. No, man. It's more fun. I mean, I have water today. I had my coffee this morning. I did not drink a second cup, but I'm telling you, I am who I am. Y'all know that already. Chad, good morning. People of the earth, absolutely. Ask Callie. Good morning. Tony Buffa, good morning. To who that's from? What is that, Gabe? SLO. What is SLO? SLO? SLO, California. I know it's probably obvious, and I'm just a dummy. Hoping for big improvements and no injuries this weekend. I'm back home for more improvement. Best we can do this year. We need some improvement, don't we? Don't we need some improvement? All right. Gabe says, by the way, Cal is more important to his team. I do not agree. I think they're both equally important. Oh, Gabe says, San Luis Obispo. Oh, you never heard of it? Yeah, I've heard of San Luis Obispo. Yeah, of course. I mean, I couldn't tell you where it is. I mean, I could probably sort of point to it on a map. I don't know. Anyway, what else we got this morning? Michael Morgan's already making his. Y'all can't wait to make your predictions. Good Lord, people. We're not even. The prediction will probably be made. I mean, you can present them in now and I'll show them, but it's probably be about 11:45, 11:50ish, maybe even a few minutes after that before we make our Saints prediction. The way it works, if you're new to the show and you haven't seen us on Friday, when Zach comes on, we give our Saints preview. We give the rankings for each team. We talk about series history. We give what we think is going to happen, like what are the keys to the game, and then we switch to LSU, give a quick preview and a prediction. Tulane, quick preview and a prediction. Then we go back to Saints and make our prediction, and then also NFL predictions for the weekend before we get to best bets. But Michael Morgan says Buffalo 42-10. Glad there's a lot of optimism out there. Brian Esteve, good morning. Happy Friday. His only expectation for the Saints this Sunday are to see a cleaner and more disciplined performance. Well, that would be a good start. Rainy Cajun, who Dattitude? Fun Friday. Who dat? Who dat daddy? Go Tigers. Go Pels. That's right. Pels starting training camp. We'll be talking about them playing preseason games pretty soon. I hate that basketball starts this early. I mean, honestly, it's absurd how they need basketball and baseball season. They need to trim both of those. Too long. Way too long. Starts way too early and it ends way too late. I'd like to say that's my rant of the morning, but I'll probably have another one. Who knows? Gary, good morning. Adam Varner, good morning. Cecil Evans, happy Friday. After this weekend's games, the Rat will have only one less win than either Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. Huh? The pigeons I feed on Sunday tell me he's right where he needs to be. I know you're being facetious, but come on, man. Bill Mariandi, good morning. You know where the Rat's going to be? He's going to be 5 losses shy of the all-time record in the history of the NFL for consecutive losses to start a season by a quarterback. After this weekend, he'll be 0-10. Deshaun Kaiser is 0-15. What's going to happen there? We'll talk about it. Charles also said he'll miss Monday's show. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you can always catch us after the fact. You know that. Terrell, okay. Trying to get everybody in this morning. All right, Sandra. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce I'm assuming that's your maiden name. It's either your maiden name or your middle name. I'm not even trying. But Sandra Poole, she loves her Saints, but we do not have a good team on the field this year. Unfortunately, you are correct. Unfortunately, but we didn't expect a good team, right? We just wanted them to improve. Will they improve? Look, I'm not just talking about improvement from last week. I mean, that's easy to do, right? What I want to see this week is a team with heart, a team that cuts down on silly, stupid mistakes, a team that is better coached, a team that is smarter, and a team that goes back to the way they were playing the first 2 weeks, at least competing. Okay. I don't foresee a team that's going to look. Now, look, they might look like the team that was played the first 2 weeks and still get blown out of the water if Buffalo plays their best game. But what do you expect from Buffalo? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Jay Sablodowski says, good morning. What's the issue with Chase Young? This kind of reminds me of the Michael Thomas ordeal. No, I don't think it's like Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is just a dill hole. Okay. I think honestly, I think they're holding Chase Young out, which is even dumber because you paid him this money. I don't know, man. Don't get me started on Chase Young. I'm really kind of ticked off about that. I'm going to ask Zach. If I don't remember, please remind me, and I probably will remember. But you know what, Jay? Ask that question again when Zach comes on in a little bit. Absolutely happy Daughter's Day. Kyle Sherman, good morning. Glad you're here this morning. Hope your daughter's birthday went well. Oh, wait. Here we go. There you go. Right after. Morning. Says your birthday wish to my daughter was part of his National Daughter's Day celebration. She felt like a celebrity. Well, I'm glad I could help. I'm glad my little part of my show here in the little world made her feel good. Love it. Charles also, he says he hates the kickoff rules. I like it. I absolutely think it's helped the game. Let's see what else we got here. I got to run through them because I got to get to Damon. So I'm sorry if I miss you, if I skip over you, it's not because I meant to. I did it on accident. And make sure you type in another comment after we get past the weather here in a minute. James Choctaw says, tell us you've never seen Aaron Judge play defense without telling us. Are you joking? He's not the greatest defensive player in the world. He's not the worst either. Come on, man. Get out of here. I hate the Yankees. Don't get me. I hope they get swept in their opening series. Neil Adams, that poor mama. Yeah. Who that daddy says he's got 5 kids. Sean's Alexander's mommy. Yeah, absolutely. Who that daddy says he's got 5 kids and he just told his wife he'd get pregnant again. We're holding the kid for the police. My wife and a boy. One day I'll tell you about the interesting conversation my wife and I had when I found out about our 3rd daughter. Sweet as hell. Love her to death. Wouldn't change a thing, but man, I thought we were done, man. I thought we were just a few years away from being able to do it now. Got to start all over. Russell Flowers wants to know what the Saints can do to help the defensive secondary. You know, we worried about that coming in. Again, that's another question we'll ask Zach. Ask that again when Zach comes on. Christopher Crump is here. He went to Vanderbilt, saluting Vanderbilt Catholic way back in 1979. Okay. You did play-by-play? Have I ever done play-by-play in Houma? Yes, but it's been a while. It has been a while since I've done play-by-play in Houma. I actually did a Vanderbilt Catholic game. It's been a while, though. Black Preacher Man, salute. Glad you were here. Let's see. Quo wants to know if we can keep Buffalo to under 30 and not turn the ball over. I feel like we're moving in the right direction. Yeah. If you keep Buffalo, if you hold Buffalo to under 30, you've done a great job. And I also think if you hold Buffalo to under 30, I think you got a great chance to cover. Definitely. Roy Steyer, happy 420. You hope that's not the Saints' final score, 42-0. You know, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, absolutely. All right, a couple more here before we get to Damon, Bart Prudhomme. If the ball don't fall inside the 20, it shouldn't come out to the 40. It should be marked where it fell. I 150%, even though there's not such a thing, disagree with you. I like the kickoff rules. It's simple. You kick it inside the 20. And first of all, why would you mark it where the ball touched the ground when if you kick it in the end zone, it comes out to the 35? The whole point of this is to encourage returns, Bart. And I get it. Look, I'm a traditionalist too. as get off my lawn as anybody. Okay. But come on, man. Embrace it. Okay. Give it a chance. The people who don't like it, I think, just aren't giving it a chance. I think it's good. I think it's going to help the game in the long run. In a few years from now, y'all won't even think anything. First of all, it's never going back. Okay. If anything, they're going to change. They'll modify it from what it is now and probably make it more so you hate it more. So embrace it. It's not changing back. I'm just telling you. And not only is it not changing back, I think it's going to make its way into college one day. All right. Last two here before we get to the weather. Keith Joyner, who dat from Northeast Louisiana, Saints fan from the beginning, good, bad, or ugly. You always pull for the Saints to win. I hear you. Good. That's what the who dats need to do. And Patrice, hello from France. Well, I would say bon matin, but it's the afternoon over there. I forget how to say afternoon. I don't know. Anyway, hope you have it's almost dinner time in France. Anyway, so bon nuit. I know how to say that. Welcome, Patrice. All right, let's get to our weather segment. If you haven't been with us for a little while, we've been doing it every week for the last few weeks. Damon Singleton, our resident meteorologist at NOLA.com. We talk about the weather for the three teams going on the road, what it's going to be like at all three sites, and also maybe a little bit of insight on maybe when we can expect real fall to hit the New Orleans area. Damon Singleton will catch up on the other side. Having fun this Friday morning, welcoming back in Damon Singleton, our local meteorologist here at NOLA.com, and glad to have you, Damon. I got to say, I woke up this morning, brought the kids out to school, and it felt a little different outside.
Yeah, I tell you what, it feels good. It feels good this morning, but it's going to feel even better over the next couple of days. I'm
excited about it, and we have an oddity here this weekend. All three of our teams are on the road. It only happens twice all season long. This is one time here. The other time is going to be in November. I think the second weekend of November, all of our teams are on the road as well. So we got some interesting forecasts. And, I'm just going to start right with the best of them all. The New Orleans Saints, although their forecast for winning isn't very good, Damon, the forecast for the weather is excellent.
Yeah, in Buffalo, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty nice weekend, and Sunday is going to be a really nice day with lots of sunshine out there. And, unlike here, where the temperatures will probably still be in the 80s, mid to upper 80s, in Buffalo, it's more like about the mid 70s. So
what's it like at night? Like if they're going up, if some fans are going up Saturday, do they need a jacket?
They might need to prepare for temperatures in the kind of upper 50s, 60s, that type of thing. So a jacket would probably be a good idea.
Don't we wish we could transport ourselves to Buffalo? Not for the game, just to go to Buffalo for the weekend. That would be probably pretty fun. All right. Moving on to a team that has a better chance to win. Two teams that have better chances to win. LSU and Ole Miss, pretty even when you look at the who's going to win or whatever. Tulane is a pretty overwhelming favorite. But talk about LSU first. They're going right back to where Tulane was last week and going to Oxford, Mississippi. What's it looking like there?
Well, Oxford looks pretty good. The weather there, not too much different than what we're going to experience here. Lots of sunshine, mostly clear skies. Temperature probably about 81 degrees at game time. So it's going to be a nice weekend for the folks heading up to Oxford.
Damon, even in those kinds of temperatures, even though it's much cooler and obviously 80 feels like what 70 might feel like for us in a couple months because it's been so darn warm, they still need to wear the sunscreen though, right?
Absolutely, Jim. The UV index is still at the very high range. While that's not the max, it's still high enough to do damage to your skin if you're outside for any prolonged period of time. So definitely want to put on the sunscreen.
And then Tulane is making its way to Tulsa.
Oklahoma.
Tulsa,
Oklahoma.
Making its way to Oklahoma for man. What's the temperatures like out there in the plains?
Well, out there it's not too much different than here as well.
Okay.
They had the front come through a few days ago. Also, some northerly winds, some mostly dry air. Those temperatures are probably like mid to upper 80s, kind of similar to what we're experiencing here, and the humidity should be pretty low.
Now, last week at this time, I asked when, we're going to see a little bit cooler temperature, and you told me 7 to 10 days. Here we are 7 days later. It feels much nicer. Now, I'm not begging, But do you see anything around the corner for a real fall front that, you know, we might walk outside and, hey, this is super nice? Is that coming up anytime soon?
So, you know, I think for the most part, the weekend looks like it's going to stay kind of mid to upper 80s with low humidity. But the temperatures are probably going to bounce back for most of next week, but only like upper 80s, low 90s.
Okay.
Humidity's back probably by Wednesday. And we're probably going to see something, if not late next week, then into the week in terms of better temperatures then. But the weekend's going to be great here and in other places, and the temperatures are going to be back up to where they ordinarily would be at this time of year next week.
I can't wait till that first time when you walk outside and the high temperature starts with a 7 and it's sunny outside. Not the one where it's ugly and rainy and nasty, which, you know, okay, whatever. But when you walk outside, it's sunny outside and the temperature starts with a 7. I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one, Jim. I hear that from a lot of people every day.
Lastly, Damon, before I let you go, we kind of talk. We still obviously have about a month left, or maybe a little bit more, of really worrying about what's going on in the tropics. Looks like there's some stuff going on, but it may stay out in the Atlantic. Now, maybe no threat to us, I hope.
Well, no threat to us here along the Gulf Coast or southeast Louisiana. The East Coast, however, is going to have to really pay attention to what's going on with Umberto and what may become Imelda here in the next couple of days. So there is some threat there, especially in terms of the amount of rainfall that's expected with the combination of those two systems, plus an upper level low that's headed in that direction as well. So it's going to be pretty wet out along the East Coast, especially like Georgia, the Carolinas, those areas for a good portion of next week.
Damon, tell everybody how we can find you. Wake Up NOLA. It's our new daily morning deal. We've got weather, we've got sports, we've got news, a little bit of everything. Tell everybody how we can find you on Wake Up NOLA.
NOLA.com. Go to NOLA.com. Wake Up NOLA every morning. I give a different forecast for the day and for the rest of the week. You know, if you get the Times-Picayune, my forecast is in the paper as well. And we sent out a newsletter to various folks that's got the forecast in it also.
Damon, we're very excited to have you, and thank you for being a part of the show. We will see you next Friday, because next Friday is our first show of October. We're really looking forward to it. See you then. All
right, Jim. Take care.
Can't wait to get that first real fall forecast. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. I can't wait. You know, probably all can't wait. You know, he's got that. You know, you grew up in a cooler climate. You can't wait for fall either, can you, Zach Ewing?
Have you ever been to New Mexico, Jim? It's not.
I have cool. Not. It is. Yeah, but you grew up around Albuquerque, right?
Yeah, it's a mile high. Like, we get snow every year, but it's still, you know, it's a dry heat, but it's still hot.
Does it get up to? I mean, is it like Vegas and Phoenix? I mean, does it get like?
Not quite. But you have your fair share of 100-degree days. The cool thing about Albuquerque is it rains almost every summer evening, so get cooled off at the end of the day.
Did not know that. All right, we're doing stuff for Wake Up NOLA as well, trying to give our guys a little plug. But I see that Luke does a lot of stuff on Wake Up NOLA as well, and it's growing.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. Check it out. It's just something else we're trying to offer our subscribers, because, you know, value you guys and want to make sure that you get your full value.
All right, before we get to Saints, I'm going to give you a 30-second chance to tell me why Cal Raleigh should be the MVP in the American League.
Okay, so he's a catcher, a good catcher.
Yeah.
Who hits 60 home runs.
Okay.
60. I'm not sure what else you need to hear if that's not convincing enough.
I mean, doesn't Aaron Judge have like 54 home runs?
The most difficult, but Aaron Judge plays outfield and DHs. Cal Raleigh plays the most difficult, physically demanding position in sports. 130 times. He's only missed, I think, 2 games all year, because when he doesn't catch, he DHs. And he's hit 60 home runs for a division champion. I don't know what else you need to know. If that doesn't convince you, then you're just being stubborn.
I think that you're going to be right. I think that you're going to end up being right, and I think he's going to win it. But I would vote for Aaron Judge if I had a vote. But I don't have a vote.
You're wrong. I understand Judge is
first
a
time you
much
said
better
I'm wrong.
offensive player, but I don't think I just think it's too easy to undervalue what it means to be a catcher and managing the pitching staff the Mariners have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And if you look at their ERA with Cal Raleigh behind the plate versus other catchers, Mitch Garver, their backup, Cal Raleigh's a better game caller too. I mean, he's just elite at everything he does. And so if you're not giving this season an MVP, then I don't know what we're doing.
Well, look, I think he's got an excellent chance to win it. I think he's got an excellent chance to win it because I told you the other day, if Seattle didn't win the division, I didn't think he was going to win it, but they have won the division. Congratulations to you, Mariners, by the way. I think that's probably cemented it for him.
Hopefully just the first step. I thought they needed to win the division and he needed to get to 60, kind of that magical number. And they did it on the same night. So, to me, I got 121 ticket on Cal. Did I tell you?
Yeah,
that?
I went. No, you didn't. I went to bed early that night, and I didn't think he was going to do it. And then I woke up and had the alert on my phone and missed it. I'm like, I was kind of mad that I went to bed early that night. So anyway, but you're gonna win a ticket, I think, of some sort. Before we get to Saints, Patricia McKithen, thank you for joining the show. Them New Orleans Saints on NOLA.com, your favorite team. She's coming to New Orleans next week and would love to meet her Saints. Okay, well, I could tell you that sometimes you get a chance to meet them if you go out around the parking area around Gate G after the game. Sometimes they come out there and they will be nice and say hello. Sometimes. Not always. Sometimes. It just kind of depends. And next week, the Saints actually have a legitimate chance of winning. And we'll get to that in a minute. The headline today reads, if you can't see this, if you're listening to the podcast after, Zach, even optimists have turned on the Saints. And what I mean by that is members of the Dat family who were saying that this team had a chance to win 10 games not that long ago are now saying things like, it's going to be like a 2-win season, and I don't know where this team's going to win. Here's the thing. We don't want to overreact too much. Somewhere in between the team we saw the first 2 weeks and the team we saw last week is the real Saints. And it's never as good as it looks sometimes. Well, most of the time, it's never as good as it looks, and it's never really as bad as it looks either.
Correct. I could see why even an optimist would want to jump ship after last week because it was ugly. It was 44-13, and it was not just a 31-point loss, but it was a 31-point loss in like the most bad news Bears fashion possible.
Exactly.
Where they're letting a guy run unblocked on a punt block.
Right.
I mean, he could have taken Kai Kruger's head off if he wanted to. Kai Kruger had no chance. And that's after you allow the punt return touchdown. Seattle's doing anything it wants on offense. Then you allow a 60-yard kickoff return. I mean, they didn't look like an NFL team for like 10 minutes. And so I could see where you would want to jump ship. I would just caution that like Luke Johnson, our beat writer, is working on a story that he's researching right now where he looks back at rookie head coaches who ended up being very good. Okay. And he's looked back as far as Bill Belichick and Sean Payton, and although Payton's a little bit of an exception to this rule, but and then in more recent years, Dan Campbell and Sean McDermott at Buffalo, Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, some of the guys, Sean McVay in LA, some of the guys we consider to be the NFL's best head coaches, all of them lost a game by 30 points in their first year. So it's not that rare for it to happen. And when you look at the roster and the quarterback situation that Kellen Moore has in New Orleans, like we got to pump the brakes on saying, oh my God, this is never going to work. And the Saints are the worst team in NFL history.
Agreed.
That's not how this works.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. And I've been saying this week, and you can't say if you were for Kellen Moore, even 4 weeks ago, you can't say now that he's got to go. He's in over his head. You could say that he looked like he was in over his head for a specific game. But after 3 weeks, it's ridiculous to say it's time to jump ship on a guy that's 37 years old. People have to remember, again, this is a rebuilding process. Rebuilding doesn't take place overnight. It's over the course of a year, 2 years, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 years. If you're really bad, it takes longer than that. But, I mean, look, I think, jumping ship on Kellen Moore is just absolutely silly right now, and there's a lot of people doing it.
No, I totally agree. don't think too much has changed. And I mean, people who listen to your show, people who listen to our show, we told you before the year this was not going to be a good football team.
Right.
That this was not going to be a good season. And I don't think anything has changed dramatically. I'm mostly worried about some more specifics, like the pre-snap penalties have got to end, and instead they're getting worse. Like the fourth down decision making, and I know we could argue about this for days. I'm fine if you want to be Dan Campbell and be aggressive and go. Kellen Moore's like doing this vibes thing where one drive he's like, yeah, let's be aggressive and go, and the next drive he's like, I'm going to kick a field goal on 4th and 2. You got to figure out who you are. And that stuff concerns me a little bit more than the big picture or the fact that you just had this god-awful 10-minute stretch last week.
Well, and not only that, Zach, I mean, you want to compare the two teams. I mean, you know what I think about Dan Campbell, but at least Dan Campbell's got the horses. He's got a fantastic team, and he instills confidence that his team is going to make those things because he truly believes they're going to make them. And you know what? He's got the players that can make them. But, I mean, it's a different situation when you're talking about what the Saints have and, you know, a very untested, unproven, still learning quarterback, whichever quarterback you want to pick, and an offensive line that, frankly, has just not been good. So, I mean, but you're right. He has to pick one. You have to pick. You have to figure out what your style is. And again, this is something that you also may take the course of an entire season to sort of figure out a little bit.
Correct. And I think at the end of the year is really when it's the first time that it's fair to look back and say, this is who Kellen Moore is as a head coach. And even then it's just going to be 1 year. Yeah. He's very young. He could still progress from there. But I think it's the first time you can sit back and say, okay, let's give him a report card for this year and see how he's doing.
Yeah. Brian Cavett says, happy Houdat weekend. Let's go Tigers. Says Zach loves the content that you guys do, and you're late, but we're glad you made it. Rocky is here. Good Friday, Rocky. We're glad you're here. And I know Rocky was one of those guys who was very and still positive. He's still trying to be as positive as possible, but I think he has changed his win expectation from early to late. Infantryman says, happy Friday. How ugly will this game be on Sunday? We're going to give you a preview, Infantryman. We will make our predictions near the end of this segment here. We're not going to give you our prediction just yet, but we will get there. We will get there. David +1 says, I don't see the point of jumping ship. The fan and some people is clouding their vision that this team is rebuilding. The cap hell was real. It needs time to get out of it. Go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to say, we talked about the Mariners winning their first division title. Going through this stretch as a fan makes that moment that much sweeter because believe me, I went through a lot of that with the Mariners it's been 24 years since they've won a division title. You go through a lot of crap and you question why you do it as a fan sometimes. And I completely understand it, but going through that makes it that much sweeter when you see the other side.
I'm just going to say the same for this team.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, you know, and they're going back to the playoffs, you know, we'll see. Lance Houdat, glad you're here this morning. All right, I want to move on to this part of the preview as we show actually the series history, which in the grand scheme of things, we talk about things that matter and don't matter. This probably is just more interesting than anything else. Does it matter? Probably not. The Saints lead their overall series, Zach, 7-5. They have won 4 out of the last 5. They lost the last time they played in the Dome, 31-6. You got the doors blown off of them by Josh Allen, and that's the only time the Saints have ever faced Josh Allen, by the way. And then, like I said, you're talking about before, you're going back to Drew Brees days, and the Saints were doing the same thing to Buffalo. Interestingly, Zach, the Saints have only lost in Buffalo one time, and it was 42 years ago.
First time they ever played there. We were just talking about that on the Saints Insider podcast that we just recorded. Like it's a weird series history, and everybody remembers that Thanksgiving night game 4 years ago where Josh Allen just kind of came in and Bills Mafia took over that Superdome and the holiday weekend and everything. But before that, the last time the Bills beat the Saints was in 1998. It was Wade Phillips against Mike Ditka. So it's like they don't play that often. They just haven't matched up very, very often as far as like, you know, the extra AFC team and stuff. And so it's only happened 12 times ever. And the fact that Buffalo's only ever beat New Orleans once in that stadium, which is is this the last year of Highmark Stadium or next year?
This is the last year of it.
So this is their last chance to, like, if the Saints pulled off some massive upset, what a weird stat that would be that the Buffalo Bills, who for at least half of that time, if not more, were a better team than the Saints, only ever beat the Saints once at home.
Yeah. Breaking news this morning. It has been announced that Jaden Daniels will not play against the Atlanta Falcons. I liked Atlanta anyway. This is not part of any of my best. I don't think I put this in my best bets. If I did it, I don't think I put it in my best bets, but maybe I did. I don't remember. Anyway, I liked Atlanta anyway. I really like Atlanta now. The line has changed. I think the Falcons were a 1.5 point dog. They're now a 2.5 point favorite. So Jaden Daniels not playing on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Not a surprise. I should have got that bet in. I didn't think he was going to play. It didn't look like, from what I was reading, that he wasn't going to play. Brian Cavett says 4 wins has been his number all along. Media touts the talent on the other team than McCoy and Kamara. Maybe who could take a starting position or at least that's kind of a alluded statement. I don't quite understand what you mean, but McCoy and Kamara maybe could take a starting position on another team. Are you talking about trade? You're not going to trade McCoy. Eric McCoy is your anchor at center. There's zero chance that you would trade McCoy. That would just be silly. Trade McCoy. Now, Kamara, I could see that, Zach, but I mean, what are you really going to get in return for Kamara? When they get to the selling deadline, he might go, but he has to want to go. I'm pretty sure there's a no trade clause, right? Doesn't
believe so, at least a limited one, yes.
I'm pretty sure, and he signed here. I think he wants to finish here. I'd be surprised, honestly, if Kamara goes. However, if he's willing to go, then sure. But you're not going to get a whole lot for him. I think the most you'd get for a Kamara is probably like a 3rd round pick.
I really think that is even optimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Alvin Kamara kind of gets pumped up a little bit in the eyes of Saints fans because he has done so much for this franchise. But from the eyes of other franchises, like, this is a guy who, he averaged over 4 yards per carry last year, but he didn't the 2 years before that. He's 30 years old. What have you done for me lately in this league is a big deal. And frankly, it's not all that much for Alvin Kamara. Yeah. I don't like, if you're a playoff team and you're looking, maybe like, I don't know that if the Chargers or the Cardinals were to get another running back injury or something, and they're like worried about it. But I mean, look at the Marshawn Lattimore deal last year, where even as an often injured guy, Lattimore is much more valuable than Kamara is now. He plays a more valuable position. He's younger. He's, under a cheaper contract and all that stuff. And the Saints got a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th, and they had to send back a 5th. So they got multiple picks, but like, you're not going to get just a straight up 3rd rounder for AK, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll put it more 4th, 5th round.
Chad says if the Bills do not pull their starters early, Buffalo 45, Saints 13. We'll be asking you for your opinions, and when we get to our picks as well. Look, people have to. And by the way, Charles, we're not talking about Pelicans today. Sorry, we'll get to Pelicans in a few weeks. I'm not even kind of ready to even kind of talk about the Pelicans right now.
Davante Adams, by the way, Jim. Davante Adams last year, who is a plus player in this league, like, he is a difference maker. He got a 3rd round pick from the the Jets for the Raiders.
Yeah.
So I don't think Alvin Kamara is being graded the same way as Davante Adams.
Well, and not only that, I just think that just in general, the fan, and look, I'm not chastising anyone. I just think the fan just doesn't understand what values are. Their idea of what someone is worth and the idea of an NFL GM and what reality is are two different things. I mean, it's like, I've actually heard people, Spencer Rattler doesn't work out and they want to go with Shucks, they should just trade him. You would get nothing. And I mean, literally nothing. You would get nothing for Spencer Rattler. No one's going to trade for Spencer Rattler. You'd have to cut him, and then he hopes he gets picked up. So I think at this point, honestly, and I'm not trying to transition to this. I'm just saying why people don't understand what players are worth. Just trade so-and-so. Just trade this guy. Just trade Olave, whatever. I mean, the trade value of what a player is way lower than for almost everyone than you think it is. I mean, so I think Spencer Rattler is a guy who, if they would never do this, but if they wanted to put him on the practice squad, I think they still could. Again, they would never do that, but I think he would make it too. I think he would.
Spencer Rattler is a top 40 quarterback in this league.
I don't think so.
I think comfortably. And those guys aren't like somebody out there with a with a needed quarterback. You think there's 40 guys better than Rattler right now?
Absolutely. 100%.
We're not going to go through a list, but I think that's
maybe we'll have fun with that one day.
I think that's a conservative estimate.
All right. Well, on that note, Chad wants to know what you think of how early do you think Shuck comes in for one series at the end of game or more time this week? What is your opinion?
If the game is out of hand like last week's game was, he may come in.
Think you see him more?
Maybe 2 series. I don't know. Last week I think everybody just wanted to get out of there.
Absolutely.
We'll
that wasn't about seeing Shuck. That was just about putting him in
and frankly, Buffalo's defense is not as good as Seattle's, especially they announced this morning Ed Oliver and Matt Milano were both out. So I maybe you give Shuck a little bit of a chance, but I don't think the Saints are all that close to making that switch just yet.
I think that I said this before. I say it again. My prediction has changed. I said before the season that if Rattler won the job, I thought they would start 0-4, which I'm going to be right on that. But I thought they would start 0-4, and that I thought week 5 would be the week you'd see Shuck. I've changed my opinion, and I think Rattler needs a chance to win. So, and that comes next week against the Giants. Now, if they lose this week and they lose against the Giants, then maybe we'll be talking about a different tune. We'll see, but a whole different situation. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, it's the time. Great segue. You talk about the rankings, and interestingly, if you look at defense, the Bills are 32nd in the NFL in rushing defense, but that's misleading. It's because they score so many damn points that everybody's got to keep up with them and throw the football. And their passing defense has been excellent. They're second against the pass, Zach. So it's kind of a weird. It should be the other way, right? It's kind of weird. Teams are trying to run against them and they're getting yards, but I don't know, man. It also counts that they played Baltimore already, and it was a 41-40 game, and Lamar and Derrick Henry had their day. I don't know. Just weird numbers at this point of the season.
Yeah, it's a small sample size thing is all it is. The Ravens ran for – and now the Ravens were ahead most of that game, remember. The Ravens ran for – I'm trying to find it here. How many yards did they?
It was crazy.
Over 200 yards.
It was a lot. It was a lot, yeah.
238, yeah. So
wow.
Now, having said that, the Bills did allow 100 yards to the Jets, and I think they allowed 130-some yards to the Dolphins on the ground last week. So it is possible to run on them, and I think it's funny to say the Saints actually got off to a good start last week because that seems totally antithetical. But the first 5 plays they actually did. They were running the ball with Kamara. He got a 7-yard gain and a 9-yard gain. They had a completion. They got a couple first downs. They moved it across midfield. And then they had a bad pass on 3rd and 2 and then turned it over on downs. That's really where things started to go downhill. But the point is, that's what they would like to do. And the Dolphins kind of provided them a blueprint. The Dolphins were tied with this team going into the 4th quarter last week because they were able to soak up so much clock with their running game. They averaged better than 5 yards per carry. They finished in the red zone with touchdowns. And that's the recipe. And then you need the really difficult thing is you need Josh Allen to make a mistake to kind of finish off an upset. But that's how you stay in this game.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And if you can't see the numbers here, we talked about the Bills having the 32nd ranked defense, but for the Saints to be able to run the ball, the rushing offense so far has been 18th. Again, that may be a little bit misleading because the Saints probably a lot of it last week you just throw kind of out the window. They had to try to throw the ball even more. They were behind in the other 2 games as well. So maybe when they want to, they can be a little bit better running the football, 18th. But, passing offense is also 18th. And that's where I think Spencer Rattler is in for his toughest test of the week. As good as Seattle's defense was, and I know you talk about players that are going to be missing for the Bills this week, but the Saints with the 18th ranked offensive in yards per game. And again, we don't put too much stock. I think after the 4th week is when you really start looking at these. But the Bills have the 2nd best defense in yards per game against the pass. We'll see what Spencer can do this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll shout out some more of Luke's coverage. He wrote a story about how few explosive plays this offense has had. And part of that is because of the defense that they are facing. Now, against Seattle last week, Obviously, you're just not going to see anything but a quarters defense, like a deep shell defense, when you're behind by that many points. But the 49ers and Cardinals did the same thing to the Saints. They made them dink and dunk, and the Saints got in their own way by committing penalties, by having negative plays. But you can see one area Rattler really needs to improve is leading his receivers into some of those yards after catch. You got to have that yak. His air yards per target are not that much different than league average, but the Saints receivers are not getting the yards after the catch. Some of that's on the receiver, of course, but a lot of it's on the quarterback. You got to lead these guys. Again, referencing the Dolphins game, Devon Achane caught 7 passes in that game, but only one of them went for longer than 10 yards. He only had 29 yards receiving. They're going to let you throw those short passes and just try to make plays. But with Alvin Kamara, if you can kind of hit him in stride, maybe you pop a big one and open up some other stuff. Like, that's all got to be part of this plan in order to hit explosives.
Yeah, a perfect example of what you're talking about is you can't keep throwing for 207 and 218 yards. I mean, you got that number's got to get higher. And we never talked about this earlier in the week, and I meant to. I think I mentioned it Wednesday. I did not mention it Monday, but Rattler and Sam Darnold threw for exactly the same amount of yards, 218. The problem is Darnold needed 21 fewer attempts to do it and 14 fewer completions. So you can't keep throwing for 6 and 7 yards. And I think a lot of it has to do with exactly what you're saying. You have to put your receivers, whether it be your running backs on screens or whatever it is, or a lot of it, you have to put them in position to be able to make the yak, the yards after catch. And hopefully he'll find a way to do that, especially in a game like this.
Right. I mean, something out of the ordinary has to happen. And I know you're a stat head fan. I went and looked at all of the games in NFL history with a point spread of 15.5 or more. But before I give my prediction, I'll give you some of the stats on how many of those teams won and everything. And you start thinking about it, and you're going, well, how does this happen? It happens in 2 ways. Number one, the favorite sleepwalks a little bit. I can see that from the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have 2 primetime games coming up. They just came off of another primetime game. They came off of a division game. They have another one against New England next week. Like, they're holding out Milano and Ed Oliver, I think, in part because they think they can win this game without them. And they're giving them an extra week. I think the sleepwalking potential is higher than usual. You could see that. But then on the other end, something weird has to happen. You have to have that special teams touchdown. You have to have a turnover in the red zone, or one return for a touchdown. You have to have Josh Allen reach for the pylon and then fumble it into a touchback. Or something weird has to happen that opens the door for you late in this game. And that's how these things happen.
Interestingly, when we look at the lines, and we're going to get to our Saints predictions in a little bit, we're going to do, I'm just telling you right now, we're going to go to LSU and Tulane in a minute, and then we're going to come back and make our Saints prediction. But this line has changed ever so slightly. We talked about on Monday that DraftKings was the only book at 15.5. Everyone else was 16.5. DraftKings went to 16.5 with everyone else on Wednesday. And then since Wednesday, everyone has come off of the 16.5. The people with money are betting on the Saints at 16.5 and driven this number down. It's 15.5 everywhere, except I think one book is actually at 16, but no one is still 16.5. And look, again, I don't want to give my spoiler alert in my pick, but I think it's what you said. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but if the Saints defense can hold this Buffalo team to 30-ish, I think they have a good chance to at least cover. Regardless, I'd be shocked if they don't, and I know this is easy to say, but I'd be shocked if they don't play much better than they played last week.
I don't see how it could be worse. I mean, if they follow that up with another stinker, then we might really have a problem.
Right.
And I know I said it's early to judge Kellen Moore, but if you don't have 100% focus from your locker room this week of all weeks, I don't know when you're going to get it. So, and then just from happenstance, like the ball's going to bounce a little bit better for you this week, I think.
No doubt about it. Good morning, Randall. Glad you're here. All right. Y'all can start making predictions with us if you want. We're going to do the Saints last, but we're going to go into LSU now. We're going to make our LSU predictions in just a moment. We're going to start off with just talking about this game real quick. 2:30 on ABC, I believe. I think this game is on ABC. LSU is a 1.5 point underdog. This line hasn't moved a whole lot. It started at 2.5. It quickly went to 1.5, and it's pretty much stayed there. The only thing that has changed is the over-under has gone up a little bit to 56.5. Zach, your thoughts? The headline says Rebels offense best test so far for LSU's quote unquote vaunted defense. And I think that it is, but I think also the same vice versa. The Rebels defense hasn't been very good. They were good last week against Tulane, but I think LSU's going to, we've seen problems with their running game, but I think it kind of goes both ways. This is a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, it's kind of strength on strength, weakness on weakness. Super interesting. Lane Kiffin said to take the over. Maybe that's why did you see that? He said,
I did not.
So he said on Twitter, I can't remember exactly what the comment was, but he responded to it. Yeah, take the over. It had something to do with the Whit Weeks, Landry Kiffin. He's dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. And
I did see that.
That made the rounds, and good for Whit Weeks, by the way. That's quite a catch. And like, somebody asked Lane Kiffin about it and commented something about, oh, you just know you got to take the over this week. And he just said, yeah, take the over. So I actually wonder how much people go out and say, well, shoot, if he's saying to take the over, I better go take the over.
I think that's happened. I think that's definitely happened.
I don't know. Like, it's fascinating to me because we knew before the season LSU was going to have an improved defense. And they have. To this extent, we could not have predicted. I mean, they have like a top 5 defense in America. Now, having said that, who have they played? They played a Clemson team that has struggled every single week. They played Louisiana Tech, they played Southeastern, and they played a Florida team that has struggled offensively every single week. So we don't know how much of that is LSU's defense is. Yeah, we know they're good. Are they elite? Are they top 10 in the nation elite? Or is it just, again, small sample size, they face some offenses that have struggled so far?
Yep.
We are going to find that out this week because Lane Kiffin does not shy away from anybody. Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, and they scored some points on some pretty damn good defenses.
Yeah.
He will score points against you. If you can hold them down, you're really good. But on the other half, the LSU offense, we thought maybe they'll get back on track against Southeastern. Can they get back on track against an Ole Miss defense that's not scaring anybody? They're one of the worst in the country against the run. They're one of the worst in the country. They only have 4 sacks as a team all year. Like, this is not a defense that is going to stress you very often. So if you execute, you should also score points.
Yeah, and look, I think that also to what you were talking about, I think it also goes unnoticed sometimes. I agree with everything you said, but LSU also with those teams, even though they played poorly against LSU, you got to realize when you go look at all those games, it's the poorest game that they've had so far. All of those teams, they played their worst. They had their worst offensive performance, even in other bad performances. They weren't as bad as they were against LSU.
Florida
Absolutely, legway through 5
Miami
interceptions. Legway through 5 interceptions that was completely stifled.
They only scored 6 points against Miami last week, so I think you got a little.
Yeah, but they only scored 6 points, but they were able to actually move the ball a little bit, and they were in that game until the last 6 minutes or so. I don't think anyone at any point thought that Florida was going to beat LSU. I know they scored a touchdown, but when you throw 5 interceptions, turn the ball over 5 times, I don't care what the points are. I think that's their worst game.
I mean,
but anyway,
it's debatable, but
no. Also, I will say this. I think a lot of times that people don't put, and I've said this multiple times, if you're a regular of the show, I think people don't realize, especially with Clemson, I don't know how much that beatdown did to them psychologically. If Clemson wins that game, maybe they're 4-0 right now. Maybe they don't lose to Georgia Tech. Maybe they play differently. I certainly don't think they lose to Syracuse. I don't know. It's easy to say.
Maybe.
You can speculate, but that's just my opinion. We got a couple. Go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to say, great thing is we get to find out. In a month or so, we're going to know maybe LSU is just this juggernaut, and they do have that effect on teams, or maybe Clemson's just not very good.
I think we're going to find out a lot about this week. All right, as we get into our predictions, we got a few from the Dat family. Chad Gage says Ole Miss 24, LSU 20. Apathy says LSU's defense is going to suffocate Ole Miss. Charles Manga says LSU 24, Ole Miss 21. Daryl Hayden says LSU 17, Ole Miss 15. Tigers defense allows 5 field goals. Who Dat Daddy says LSU wins 42-28. That's a shootout. Charles Manga says LSU gets 2 interceptions. Brian Cavett is saying LSU takes the loss 32-27. Tulane on the road eats the dub 41-27, and he says the Saints lose big 41-20. And here we go. It's our prediction time here with LSU. I'm going to start with you. And so far in our local picks, as far as straight up picks, we've been pretty damn good. I'm 9-0, and I'm just, I want to be like weather people. When you're right, because you're just not right all the time, you can brag about yourself. So I'm going to brag about myself here. I'm 5-0 against the spread the last 2 weeks. LSU doesn't count because there wasn't a real spread out there. I think I would have been right with that too. I think it was 39 or whatever. Someone said it was 39. I don't know who said that. Anyway, let's see what happens this week. Zach is 8-1. He's taken Ole Miss to win 30-27.
And before anybody complains, remember I was the only. Well, I don't think we were doing this weekly show yet, but on the LSU Insider, I was the only one to take LSU to beat Clemson. So I'm not just trying to be contrarian here, but I do think what this game comes down to is two things. One is the red zone. I think both teams will be able to move the ball between the 20s to a certain extent. Who's getting 7s and who's getting 3s is a big deal. And then the other one is the Ole Miss quarterback. It looks like they're going to start Trinidad Chambliss. Lane Kiffin hasn't said for sure. Chambliss has been statistically much better than Austin Simmons, who started the year as the quarterback. Do you know about this Chambliss, Jim?
No, I think it's going to be Chambliss.
But do you know his backstory?
No, I do not actually.
He is a transfer from the Division II champions, Ferris State in Michigan.
That's right.
And was going to go be the starter at Temple. And at the last minute, Ole Miss came in and said, we need a backup. We'll pay you more than Temple's paying you to be the starter. And so he comes in here, gets an opportunity, and he has been a revelation. I mean, he gave Arkansas fits. He gave Tulane fits. LSU's defense is better than those teams. And Trinidad Chambliss, this is obviously his biggest stage. This is the best defense maybe he's ever faced. So my question is, can Lane Kiffin scheme up enough stuff for him, and can he keep his composure enough to move the ball for the Rebels? And I lean toward yes. I mean, I think this kid's the real deal.
Okay, well, Zach's got Ole Miss 30, LSU 27. We have been on the same side on 8 of 9. The only one we were on opposite sides of, I think it was the Saints 49ers game. Zach missed the boat, and I know people will be on my side here because I think LSU is going to win. And we've got a very similar score, Zach, but I just got it the other way around. I've got LSU winning 33-27 is good. I mean, yeah, LSU's defense is really good. This might be the best offense they play all year. Might be. Not sure that it will be, at least until the playoffs anyway. Look, I think that LSU is just a better football team than Ole Miss. And I know that they haven't played as well as people like them to play offensively, but Ole Miss hasn't seen a team like this all year as good as they play. I don't think Ole Miss is as good as everybody thinks they are. Or I don't put it this way. I certainly don't think they're as good as their ranking. I think that's a little bit overranked there. I think they're about to be exposed a little bit, and we'll find out. So
I'm on the opposite side. I said it last week when I picked them to beat Tulane. I think Ole Miss is better than everybody thinks. I think they're a playoff team.
Playoffs? All right. Anyway. All right. We're moving on to Tulane. We'll see which one of us is right. I got a feeling we're going to both be on the same side in this one. Tulane, we don't need to spend a whole lot of time. They have their American Conference opener against a really mediocre Tulsa team as we record here this morning. Now this afternoon, Tulane is a 15.5-point favorite against the Hurricanes. 51.5 is the over-under. That's actually gone down as well. That was 53.5 earlier in the week. I also had the time wrong earlier this week. I said 2:30. It's actually a 3 o'clock start. But just your overall thoughts. I think Tulane needs to win this game big, Zach. I think they need to be able to put last week completely out of their mind and get set up for the rest of the year. And I think they need it with a big win at Tulsa. They need to cover this spread, in my opinion.
Classic bounce back spot for Tulane. Classic hangover spot for Tulsa. They beat Oklahoma State. I know Oklahoma State's no good, but that's still a big win in that. That'd be like Louisiana Tech beating LSU. Like even if LSU was not good, that would be a big deal for that school. And so, like, can Tulsa get itself back up to face a tough opponent? Can it, and also one that's going to be pissed off after what happened at Ole Miss last week? I just think it's a classic spot, and sometimes you just got to lean into those narratives, and I think Tulane wins easy.
And there it is, the predicted score. Zach's got 34-14. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, basically just what I said. Like, I think Tulsa's defense is decent, but I always like having that dual threat quarterback. I think Retzlaff This is probably the worst defense he's faced. Maybe South Alabama. I think you could get up there and just rack up some yardage, rack up some points.
All right. I'm with you. It's weird. I do not look at Zach's scores. I make my own scores first, and it's crazy how close we are almost all the time. It's insane. I've got 32-13 Tulane. I think they cover the spread, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if I'm being like on the low side and it's more like 40-13 or 42-13. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think Tulane wins this one easy. Charles Manga says Tulane 28-14. All right, going back to the Saints, it's time to make our Saints prediction. Drum roll, please. I mean, come on. Do we really think that the Saints can beat the Buffalo Bills? I mean, I did a thing, and now they're only 15.5-point favorites, so I have to go back and relook. But there's only been 3 times in the last 30 years, Zach. It just happened to be 3 years in a row. I don't know if you know this. I heard my show the other day, but 3 years in a row, 2018, 2019, and 2020, in the last 30 years, that a team has won outright as a 16.5-point or more dog. And the Saints, again, here 15.5, but it's the same kind of thing. I think the Saints' chances of winning this game are somewhere in the neighborhood of 5%.
So this was part of my research. I also found the same thing. If you go to StatHead, 15.5-point underdogs. You said it. There were 3 straight years with one such upset: 2018, 19, and 20. Before that, you have to go all the way back to 1995. Before that, you have to go back to 1992, and it happened. This is funny. It happened in 1992, 2 consecutive weeks, both against the Buffalo Bills. I think it was the Jets and the Dolphins who beat them or Jets and Patriots maybe, who beat them as huge underdogs in back-to-back weeks. I don't know what was going on in Buffalo in 92. But anyway, overall, there have been 366 times in NFL history. I think StatHead goes back to like the 50s. So most of NFL history. 366 instances of a team being favored by 15.5 points or more. Out of those 366, how many upsets?
12.
36.
Oh, okay.
Almost exactly 10%. There's also been 2 ties.
Okay.
So 36 wins.
What's the cover rate?
And the cover rate is about 53%, 188, 168, and 10. So the underdog does cover not quite a profitable margin, almost 52.7 is right at the borderline of a profitable margin. Yep. But they do win about 10% of the time. The Saints are like 9-1 on the money line, so that all factors. All of this is for me to say it's not impossible, right? Like we can't go 0.0, as you like to say on this.
Right.
It can happen in the NFL. It has happened before.
Always does.
And it will happen again. That said, you can't look at this and pick the Saints. You just can't do it. And part of the reason I say that is because the Bills, as much as we think of them as like this exciting run and gun type team, they make so few mistakes on offense. They haven't turned the ball over once this year. And you need something like that for an upset to happen. Like I said earlier, you need a Josh Allen. Whoops, I'm reaching for the pylon and I lost it. Touchback. Or you need a weird bounce that turns into a special teams touchdown. Or you need something weird to go your way. And the Bills just don't seem to allow that to happen very often. And so I can't pick it. I do think the Bills are a little bit sleepy. Maybe the Saints get the cover with a backdoor touchdown or something. Like I think the Bills are just going to kind of play big brother and keep the Saints at arms, push them aside and just keep them there the whole game. I don't think they're interested in winning this game by 30. And so I have the Saints covering.
Chad, you literally can't say 0.0. I mean, I'm not going you can't. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a perfect example with this same Bills team. Okay. Here's a perfect example. The 2021 Buffalo Bills, this basically the same team they have now. They played Jacksonville in week 9. Okay. In week 2 through 6. Okay. They had a bye week in week 7 before they beat the Dolphins 26-11. But in week 2 through 6, they scored 35, 43, 40, 38, 31. And then they went and played the Jaguars, who finished 3-14 that year, lost their first 5 games of the year, were 1-6 going to play Buffalo. And guess what happened? The Jags won. But not only did they win, the score 9-6. And I remember it well because it just knocked I think it knocked out like literally 50% of the knockout pool because everyone said, I'm just going to take Buffalo and move on. You cannot say 0.0 in the NFL. And I mean ever. I can't say that. You know what? The one time I think you could say 0.0 was the time that Taysom Hill beat the Denver Broncos because they didn't have a quarterback during COVID or whatever it was. So you was it Taysom? Was that 2020 or whatever year that was?
2020 in Denver. Yeah, but and to that point, for everybody saying 0.0, what if Josh Allen sprains his ankle in the first play of the game and he can't play, and you're playing Mitch Trubisky? Like exactly. That's factored in here too. There is a possibility something weird happens. Right. Yeah, like you can't, the Saints have professional players too. You can't just say they have no chance. They have a chance.
I mean, it's not a good one, but they have a chance. And I think that the fact that they played as poorly as they played last week is a good thing for this game. It's not a good thing for the franchise. It's a good thing for this game. I think you're going to get the Saints. I'm not going to come out and tell you they're going to play toe to toe with the Bills, but I think they're going to come out and play much more focused. I'm going to give you my prediction in just 1 second. UBN thinks that Buffalo is going to cover 31-13. Charles Mangus thinks the Bills cover 32-12. Darrell Hayden thinks the Saints cover. He's got Buffalo winning 27-16. All right. And so let's see what else we got. Gabe says probably 0.0. Browns fans said there was a 0.0 chance they'd beat Green Bay last week. So a lot of people think, including me, think that Green Bay is the best team in the NFC.
Especially when it was 10-0 at the end of the third quarter. They really had no chance.
Couldn't do anything. So, all right, my prediction this week is I think that, and look, this again, completely coincidental that Zach and I almost picked the exact same score. I picked 30-17. I think the Saints, again, if they can, I've been saying, can you hold the Bills to 30? I think they hold them right at 30, which gives the Saints the cover because I do think they're going to score a few points. Do I think the Saints are going to score 24, 28 points? No. But I think they're going to be much more competitive than they were last week. I think Spencer Rattler is going to play a better game. I think the offensive line is going to play a better game. Like you said earlier, they need to get the running game more involved. I think it was Charles Mangus said that Kamara is going to have 100 yards. Miller's going to have 50 and Rat's going to rush for 30. If you think those things are going to happen, by the way, you should parlay that because you can make a heck of a lot of money on that parlay. That ain't going to happen. But I do think the Saints will be able to run the ball a little bit. And I think that, you might think this is a time possession game where Buffalo has it for 40 minutes and the Saints 20. No, I think it's going to be like a 33-27 time possession kind of game. And again, I think the Saints play much better this week.
Yeah, the Saints want to have that time of possession. That's a key for me. The best defense in this case is a patient offense that just milks the clock.
Yeah. Again, would I be shocked if the Saints won? Absolutely. I would be shocked. It would be so fun on Monday to come here if the Saints won this game. It would change the trajectory of the season. It would just change a lot of things. But do I think it's going to happen? No, but you just can't.
Rattler getting his first career win in 10 tries against the Super Bowl favorites on the road would be. I mean, I understand why people say 0 point. I do. It's on the road. You're coming off a terrible performance. Buffalo's had extra rest. There is everything in the entire world pointing to the Bills in this game. But that's why Survivor's so great, because weird stuff happens.
It's so
every
fun.
week.
Yeah, it's the best. It's what I look forward to it more now than I do my March Madness brackets. That's how much fun Survivor is. And I mean, for a lot of people, it's over after like week 4 or week 6 or week 8 or whatever it is. But I just think it's a lot. And not just because I won last year, and not just because you won $100,000. Like literally, by the way, for those people to know, Zach actually won $100,000 playing in a knockout pool. You can go back and find that show we did somewhere on. So it's gone. The money's gone now.
I bought an air conditioner. I paid off some debt. Took the kids to Disney World, and where did it all go?
Hopefully, some of it went into a college fund.
Yeah, that's coming.
That's a whole story. It's a different story. All right. We're going to finish our segment here. I know we're running long, but I think it was really good. People enjoy this segment. I get a lot of good talk about our segment here on Friday. We're going to finish it off. We didn't do this last week, but we're going to do it this week. Maybe not too long, but we're going to give you the 3 best games. I picked out the 3 best games, I think, in the NFL this week, and going to give you our predictions. I did a little bit different. We're going to do it all by spread now. I know you gave me the scores. But here we go. We're going to start off with the Bills are 2.5-point favorites at Kansas City. You've got Baltimore. I've got Kansas City. Give me your thought process there.
Yeah, I just think Kansas City's not a very good team right now, man. And like one of these teams is going to be 1-3, and it's easy to say, oh, the Kansas City Chiefs can't be 1-3. Tell me what the Chiefs are good at right now. What are they good at? I don't think they're good at anything. They're okay.
They're good at Patrick Mahomes.
They got Patrick Mahomes, but if he's got no weapons and no running game and a kind of a slipshod offensive line, like
they're really good at coach.
They're just like again, this is the NFL.
I mean, their defensive backfield's pretty good.
Things can happen, but I think this spread should be on the other side of 3. Like I see the Ravens as coming in ticked off about the Monday night game, ticked off that they're somehow 1-2, even though they might be the best team in the NFL. In fact, if you like the Ravens, now's the time to bet them in Super Bowl futures. Now that you got a little extra money.
I say wait after they lose this week. I'm on the other side. I think the Chiefs got something to prove. You want to talk about pissed off? I hear you that you just don't think. A lot of people don't think they're that good. I think a lot of it is people don't think the Chiefs are good because they've got Chiefs fatigue. They don't want them to be good. So in their head, they just don't think they're as good as they really are. The fact is that I think that they have, if not the best coach in football right now, like one of them. One of the top 2. He's going into the Hall of Fame. He's a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. I think Patrick Mahomes can take a lot of things on his shoulder. Don't get me wrong. So can Lamar Jackson. And I think the Ravens are obviously talented. Yes, they're pissed off. But I don't think that a team should be favored going into Kansas City. I'm gonna take the Chiefs here. And if they prove me wrong, I'll probably just stay off of them the rest of the year. It's definitely not one I'm going to bet. But it is. We put what I think are the 3 best games, or at least the 3 most intriguing games. This one's up here. Give me the Chiefs. You got the Ravens. We'll see who's right. By the way, we haven't been doing well. For those who can't see, the last week we didn't do it, but 2 weeks ago I was 1-2 against the spread. Zach was 0-3. I'm 3-3 for the season. Zach's 1-5. Again, we're not picking best bets. We're doing the 3 most highlighted games. A little bit tougher to pick. We're not running the window to bet these games. No. I actually might bet this next one. You and I are both on the Bucs, and I know that Mike Evans is out, but to get 3.5 from the Eagles, I'm just not that impressed by the Eagles. And I like the Bucs mentality. I continue to say they are underrated.
Yeah, and they get, I believe, Tristan Wirfs back this week. They get Chris Godwin back this week. So the loss of Mike Evans is muted a little bit, and Emeka Egbuka has been probably your offensive rookie of the year favorite so far. So he's been a boon to that receiving core. The Bucs worry me a little bit. They've gotten by with a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Like you could argue they could easily be 0-3. They're 3-0. Yeah. So I don't know. I have the Eagles winning this game. I just don't have them covered. With that hook, I'm going to take the Bucs.
I know I'm doing well now. UBN says, blah, 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 blah. We need more analysis than they have Mahomes. No, you don't. They have Mahomes and they have Andy Reid. That's all. It's worked for 8 years. It's good enough for me. Anyway, and Chad points out that Baker's hurt too, but he's fine. He's Baker. He's going to play. Okay. Yeah, and I really like the Bucs here. Again, this is actually one I might bet. I just don't think the Bucs get enough. They're not getting enough love. I really think that they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFC. I predicted them to go to the NFC Championship game a few weeks ago. I stand by that. I still think they're going to the NFC Championship game. I think they're better than the Eagles. There, I said it. I think they're better than the Eagles. And for the Eagles to go into Tampa Bay and to give 3.5, I think that's an absurd line. I think the Bucs win this game outright. It is not in my best bets, but I think they went outright. We'll see. Anyway, and then it's Sunday Night Football. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Miles Parsons is talking a lot of smack. Huh? Micah Parsons. What did I say? Oh, God. It's been a long week, Zach. It's been a long week. I need some sleep. The wife's out of town. I need to go. I need sleep. Green Bay, 7-point favorite at Dallas. You've got Green Bay. You're taking Parsons and that he's going to back up his smack talk. I think the Cowboys, I think they have fight in it. I'm not saying they're going to win this game, but I think this is going to be an interesting game. I think if Green Bay does cover, I don't think they're going to cover until at the very end. It's not one I'm going to bet. I know it's Sunday night. It's hard not to bet because it's the only thing on. I'm probably not going to bet it, but if I had to bet, I would take Dallas. I think it's going to stay close.
It's funny looking at Gabe's chat behind the scenes saying you're just like Jerry Jones messing up
I know
Micah's name.
It's not the first name I've messed up.
I don't think, Dallas's offense is different without CeeDee Lamb. I'm looking more at that than I am necessarily at Micah Parsons. I think that they really struggled against a bad defense in Chicago last week when CeeDee Lamb went out. Now they have a week to kind of come up with plan B, so maybe it's a bit better, but they're also going up against a much better defense. And on the other side, Green Bay's offense is going to go up and down the field on those boys. Dallas got nothing left on D. I don't think this is. I think this is double digits, man.
Well, one of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be wrong. It is what it is. I mean, actually, we might actually both be right because there's a chance for a push here. So, I mean,
could be, yeah.
I mean, and I say if it ends up a push, then we're both right. I'd rather say it that way than both wrong. What you got going on this weekend before I let you
go? Son's 10th birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to Jacob. My wife's got to work, so we're not doing much until the evening. I've got to pay attention to the LSU-Ole Miss game, and we'll have a post-game show for that. We'll have a post-game show for Saints Bills on Sunday.
Looking forward to it. And so everybody check out the Saints Insiders. They can find you pretty easily on YouTube. Saints Insiders. It's New Orleans Saints on NOLA.com. Easy to find. Zach Ewing, who is our Saints editor at The Advocate, also assistant sports editor. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk. Well, I'll talk to you before next week, but we will see you here on the show next week. All right, Jim. Zach Ewing, everybody. By the way, I see some chatty chat in the Saints in the chat. Look, I don't know where y'all got this from, but it's a quote unquote official that Drew is going in the Hall of Fame. It's not official. So I don't know where y'all got that from, but it's not official. I mean, he's almost certainly going to, but it's not official until it's 100%. It's not 100%. He has just been announced that he is eligible. That's it. Nothing else. Again, he almost certainly will be, but if he goes out to one of his restaurants and shoots somebody, do you think he would be in the Hall of Fame then? Gabe, would he still be in the Hall of Fame if he did that? He's thinking about it. He doesn't know. What? Just saying. I'm not saying he would do that. Come on. That's being facetious. If something were to happen, let's just say it's not nothing's. My point is, Gabe, and I'm gonna put you on now, actually, because we're about to get in our picks. If Gabe's here,
I didn't hear you. That's why I was.
Okay. UBN is not going to be here this morning. He's got technical issues. My point is, you can never say 100% about anything. Talking about Drew Brees being in the Hall of Fame, it's not a.
No, he was named a nominee finalist or something. I don't know. It's something weird that the NFL does. He wasn't officially inducted into the Hall of Fame.
By the way, Elijah, come on, man. 63-7. Saints aren't going to lose 63-7. I mean, they're not going to lose 63-7. I think they're going to cover. Do you think they cover or no?
I don't know.
I'm not asking you to bet it. You got to put in your best bets, but
I would probably say 27-10. So no, but I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't touch this line.
I know what you would bet on. You would bet on Evangeline Securities.
I would.
And you would bet on how they can help figure out what your family run a privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. Because if you ask how do they do it, and I know you're all asking this, after their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Brian Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from established private equity funds from around the whole wide world, not around Louisiana, not around the United States, not around Canada. No, around the whole world. They will maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, well, they're the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and there are none. I mean, none with their dedication to success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. And I hate to tell y'all, Drew Brees making the Hall of Fame, it's not really important, at least not to us. There are all sorts of things that are really important, but what is the most important thing?
Gabe the rest Henderson? Of your life.
Absolutely. The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. It is pick'em time. Good morning, says Charles.
Morning, Charles.
Good morning, says Lance, although it's not really morning. David, wait, wrong one. David +1 says Gabe is betting on the Texans this week. I know that. I'm scared, but
I'm not.
I think I'm tailing that for some survivor picks.
There's no chance I'm taking the Texans to win by 7 or more points. I think they will. I wouldn't bet it.
Randall says he'd be fall over stunned if the Saints cover the spread. I mean, why would you be stunned? It happens 53% of the time. We just told you. A team that is a underdog of 15.5 points or more. So, in other words, if you're an underdog of 15.5, you're a pretty bad team. So it's happened, 320 times or whatever Zach said since the 50s? The Saints are no different than the other crappy teams. They're a crappy team like the other crappy teams. So they've got about a 53% chance of covering. And just silly to think that they're not going to. It's one thing to say, okay, I don't think they're going to win. They're not going to win. I don't think they're going to win. But you can't say 0.0 on that. And if you think they're going to cover, I think it's 50-50, easily 50-50. So just come on.
I believe if the betting odds are -110, it's a 52.09% implied probability.
Whatever it is, it's never as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think it is. All right.
I'm just giving
here are our standings, and UBN not being here kind of screws up this graphic, but I wasn't going to.
Why he's not here this week.
I wasn't going to go in and try to change anything last minute while I was trying to do other things. But anyway, we got a new way of doing this. I'm on the left. Gabe's on the right. That's not new. UBN is in the middle, but he's not here, so he's not in the middle. The blue means you sucked last week and you were the worst one. The fire means you were the best one, and then the black and gold is you were just okay, fine, whatever. So the turkey of the week, and he's not even here to wear his turkey shirt. Not only was UBN, he had the best week of the year out of any of us the first week, and now he's come back to earth, and he had the worst week out of anyone through 3 weeks. He was god-awful last week. He was 0-3. He had -35.5 points. And if you don't know how this works, is we take the differential. Whatever we pick, okay, whatever our 3 best bets are, if you pick, let's say you pick the Saints this week, +15.5, and they lose by 17, you would get a -1.5, whatever the differential is. If you pick the Saints, +15.5. None of us are picking the Saints. But if you pick the Saints +15.5 and the Saints were to win by 2, you would get +17.5. So whatever the differential is, and you have to be pretty bad to get a -35.5. That's what UBN got last week. And for the year, he's still +7.5 to go show you how good he's been beyond that. Go ahead.
As someone who had a similar, not exactly similar, I think it was like -20 week 1. Which is all it takes is one bad bet. That's it. All it takes is one bad bet. And Tulane was a horrible bet.
Nick also said New England turned the ball over 3 times inside the 5. That'll kill any over. Boo. 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 We don't make excuses on the show. We accept our damn losses and move on. You didn't lose. You were 2-1 last week, 7.5 points. You are moving up the scale. Look at these picks. If you look at our overall, this is against the spread, folks. Against the spread, we are 15 and 9-3, 15-12. Look how quick I did that with my Shaw math skills. Plus, for the point differential, we are all combined ahead. You're -13 overall, but you've gradually worked yourself back, and you had the best week of any of us. You got the fire stick this week, 2-1. 7.5 points. What did you do right last week besides the Texans?
I bet against UAB's defense, which is the best bet that anyone can make.
All right, you got some analysis here. UBN again couldn't be here.
Yep,
because he's got technical hit my mic. Technical difficulties. It has nothing to do with the fact that he absolutely sucked pixie dust last week. Whatever it was, he stunk. So he's not here to do his picks, and Gabe's going to do his picks for him. It can't be it's kind of like Saints. Can't be as bad as last week. I'll just go through them real quick. He's got Illinois +7 over USC. He's got Penn State -3.5 over the Oregon Ducks, and he did. And look, he got this pick in yesterday. So this is as of yesterday afternoon. This spread is not the same anymore. It is now. I knew one of us took it. I couldn't remember. He's got Falcons +1.5 over at Washington. Again, this is before it was announced Jane Daniels is out. And I honestly like the Illinois pick. I like the Falcons pick, even at -2.5 now. I don't have feel one way or the other, but give me some analysis that he gave us.
So starting with the Illinois pick, he said, who doesn't want to take a team that lost by 53 points last week? Getting 7 from USC seems like a huge overreaction.
Okay.
For Atlanta, he said, who doesn't want to take a team who lost by 30 last week? Week before last, Atlanta was brilliant defensively, and then they get blown out. Expect a huge bounce back. And now we know with Atlanta that Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin are now out for Washington, so that helps.
Oh, I didn't know Terry McLaurin was out too.
Yep, Terry McLaurin is out as well. And then he says, Penn State, yes, they suckered me in again. White out at night. Franklin got to win one of these eventually, or does he?
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, well, there you go. If you're listening to the podcast and you can't see the graphic, Illinois UBN's picks this week: Illinois +7 over USC, Penn State -3.5 over Oregon, and the Atlanta Falcons, +1.5 over the Washington Commanders. And again, that line right now is Falcons -2.5. You missed the boat. I really like this, and I'm kind of aggravated that I didn't bet it because I really liked this when he turned it in. It would have been my favorite pick of the week, but I can't now officially take that. Not that it's not.
That's what I was going to say. It's a good thing UBN isn't here and we're not making our best and worst picks of the week, because that by default would have been my favorite bet of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it now.
You're now getting points. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to Gabe. Again, Gabe had the best week of all of us last week. 2-1 for the week, 7.5 point differential. And we're going to start off with your first one. There he goes. I mean, I thought I told you you're better off when you don't let the homer crawl in. I mean, you got LSU +1. I'm not saying I don't like this pick, because I do like this pick, but you're supposed to, you didn't learn a lesson with the Texans last week.
I've been so busy this week that I just kind of had to look through some spreads. I really wanted to go against UBN and take USC -7. I think they're a much better team than Illinois, but I'm not one who likes cross-country travel. And then I looked into the stats with this LSU game. Brian Kelly is 45-27-2 against the spread in his career as an underdog.
Okay.
And since Lane Kiffin became head coach at Ole Miss, the Rebels are 17-25-1 against the spread in conference play. That is the worst in the SEC with a minimum of 10 games.
I'm with you. I like it.
I don't think Trinidad Chambliss. I think he's very good. I think he's going to be excellent for them throughout the year. And as Zach said, they maybe are a playoff team. He has never, ever in his life seen a defense that comes close to this. And that's no disrespect to Tulane, no disrespect to the Division II opponents he played while at Ferris, no disrespect to the high school kids or Pee Wee kids he played. LSU's defense is for real. Blake Baker and his guys have to stop a running quarterback one of these times. I think they've got the dogs to do it now, and I think they're going to keep it close with Ole Miss, and I think they're going to win, although I do think it'll be a close game.
Okay, you got me barking. All right, I'm with you on that one. I'm not running to the window. I'm not touching that either way.
Yeah.
But if I had to bet it, I would definitely take LSU. I've already told you the reason why I made this pick earlier. All right, you got an early morning game on Sunday. The waking up with our first cross the pond game of the year. It's the Vikings. It's the Steelers. What you got?
I don't think the Steelers played particularly well last week. I don't think they're a very good team. I am worried that this is a potential letdown spot for Minnesota after their big win. I think this will be close. I do think they win. And since you know me, I love trends. In the NFL International Series, favorites are 36-13-1 straight up and 32-18 against the spread. So that is a cover rate of 64%. I like the Vikings. I think they are absolutely 2.5 points better than the Steelers, no matter who the quarterback is.
Official pick, Gabe's got the Vikings -2.5 over Pittsburgh on a neutral field. And I will say that this year, I don't know if it's what's led to me having such success or because, I'm 6-3 against the spread, 27.5 point differential. Again, this is not one I'm running to the window. In fact, I probably won't bet this game. I try to sleep a little bit later on Sunday. We'll see if it happens or not. I actually kind of like the Steelers here. I think the Vikings are overrated. I don't necessarily like it because I like the Steelers. I think they're just average or whatever. I agree with you. They're not that great of a football team. But I don't know that the Vikings are that great of a football team either. I'm certainly not. I know they played well last week, but maybe Carson Wentz was just playing well because he was happy to actually get a start again in the NFL.
I guarantee you they won't turn the ball over 6 times like New England did. And even then,
that's true.
The Steelers only won by a touchdown?
Yeah, you got a point.
Minnesota will not make that many mistakes, and they're much better defensively. So,
well, I definitely have a feeling about this last game that you have, and I don't want to give too much away. I will just say this. It's rare, especially so far this year, but this game is also in my best bets. I don't want to tell you what I've got. Gabe's got the Rams -3.5 over the Indianapolis Colts.
I alluded to it earlier with Illinois and USC. I don't like cross-country travel. I don't pick teams that have to travel cross-country. I think the Colts are not for real. Let's say that. They're going to cool down at some point. I think the Rams are absolutely for real. I think the Rams defense is going to be the best one they've seen to date. I think Puka Nacua is going to absolutely tear apart that defense. And I think the Rams are going to improve to 3-0 against the AFC South this week.
Yeah, well, I will say this. I agree with everything you just said, at least about that game. As we switch to my picks, again, I was 2-1 last week. 5.5 points. Total for the year is 6-3, 27.5.
Jim, I don't mean to cut you off.
Points.
Is that a mistake? Do you have a college football game?
I have a college football game. I am traveling out of my lane.
Wow.
But I'm gonna leave and save that one for last.
Yeah.
Not only am I traveling out of my lane, but I'm picking a game on a Friday night, a game that I can't even watch. That's coming up in just a minute. First, I'm going to talk about the Rams and Colts because Gabe just did. Again, I agree everything he said. I love betting good teams coming off a brutal loss like the Rams just had. There is no more of a brutal loss than you're lining up to kick the winning field goal. It gets blocked and rubbed in your face, and they run it back for a touchdown. You don't even cover. The Rams are pissed off, and it is time for a Colts wake-up call. As Gabe said, Colts are going on the road for the second straight week, this time across the country after a short trip against the division foe that they know well and are easier to prepare for. This one not as easy to prepare for. Daniel Jones, he turns back into the pumpkin that Daniel Jones is, and the Rams wax his ass. I don't like 3.5-point games, and I got 2 of them on here. I don't like giving that extra hook, but in this case, I think it's warranted because I think the Rams win, and I think they win easily. Speaking of -3.5, I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Jags. Speaking of teams that aren't nearly as good as people might think they are because they started at 2-1. How about wake-up calls? The Jags are average at best, and Brock Purdy looks like he's coming back. Their one road game, they almost lost to Cincinnati with Jake Browning. I'm talking about the Jaguars. They almost lost to Cincinnati with Jake Browning playing most of the game, and he threw 3 interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions. Oh, they did. They did lose that game.
They did lose that game.
They did. That's the one loss. That's the one I screwed up. See, man, I'm screwing up names, screwing up records, screwing up everything this morning, but I will not screw up this pick. It's another -3.5. Give me the Niners. I think, again, they're not at full strength yet. I get it, but they're at home. They're going to be fired up. Again, Brock Purdy, especially if he's back. And then my last one, by the way, I almost put, instead of the Niners, Gabe, I wanted you to know, I almost put Texans -7 over Tennessee.
I almost did as well. I don't like that number.
Yeah, that is a high number, but I think the Texans, I'm not running to the window. If you want a little lanyap, I really like the Texans this week. I think they bounce back in a big way. And I think Tennessee is just bad. All right. For my traveling out of my lane, I do it. I usually get knocked down and get reminded there's a reason why you don't go out of your lane. This number jumped out at me. I'm saying, let me just see if there's any college games that I really like. And I was thinking about taking Florida State because Florida State, I think they're only a 7-point favorite at Virginia. And I was like, yeah, I really like that. But then when I saw the number, Florida State and Virginia are both scoring in bunches, and this over-under is only 60.5. Now, this is a square pick, okay? I get it. It's 60. I don't know. Florida State -7 felt kind of trappy, if that's a word. But again, the Seminoles, they put up 31 on Alabama. Meanwhile, Virginia they haven't scored fewer than 31 all year long. So will they here against a better defense? Sure, maybe. But I mean, Florida State has been rolling. They scored 143 in their past 2 games. I get it's East Texas A&M and Kent State. Doesn't matter. I think this is a high-scoring, fun Friday night game. I think this game could be like upwards of 75 points scored. I think this will be hit the over by the end of the third quarter, especially if Virginia can kind of keep it close. We'll see if they can. Anyway, I got Florida State, Virginia over 60.5, and I think it's going to be easy.
As someone with Virginia over season win total, I would love for them to upset here, but I don't think that'll happen. But I do agree with you. I think there will be a lot of points scored.
All right. UBN says he loves the under. And
I don't love that number.
He says it's hip to be square. Sometimes it is hip
I
to be
believe
square.
37.5 for
37.
total.
That's under. That's way under.
Yeah.
Randall
I'm
likes
not touching that number.
Randall likes the Rams. We're kind of screwed. Anyway. Is the game in Jacksonville? No, it's in San Francisco. Game is in San Francisco. All right. What you got for me as we move on here this morning? It's been a fun morning. It's been busy. It's been crazy. What you got going on this weekend?
Nothing. I'm going to watch football. I might go help my mom at the garage sale tomorrow. And before I part, I will say Zach and I usually do not see eye to eye in baseball. However, and this isn't.
You're chomping at the bit to talk about this.
I hate the Yankees and the Mariners. I think Cal Raleigh deserves the MVP because, and this isn't, I'm not going to go as far as to say whatever someone said earlier, that Aaron Judge's defense sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cal Raleigh is phenomenal defensively. He's spent most of the season catching. I think there's a chance that he breaks Aaron Judge's home run record from the catcher position. His batting average is basically the only knock that people have. I think he's going to get to 100 walks on the season. I believe he's caught over 1,000 innings, only missed two or three games, as Zach said. I just think you have to reward someone like that. So
I don't think you have to do anything. Anyway,
I
think you'll be right.
An MVP season, I don't know what is.
I think you will be right again because the Mariners, because he did hit 60, he got to the magical 60 number, and the Mariners won that parlay together. I think we'll win it for him. I think he'll get enough votes. I'm just saying that if I had a vote, I'd vote for Aaron Judge because I think he's just had a better season overall. But I get why people don't think that.
And here's one thing: a lot of people look at Aaron Judge's WAR as well, but WAR does not accurately reflect the importance of the catcher position.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hardest position to play on the baseball diamond.
That's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
He has called some excellent games. And I think what he's done at the plate is also super impressive because we forget he's a switch hitter.
I don't know. And I'm not trying to hold this against him, but I also have a problem with someone who comes out of nowhere. It makes me just be curious.
Not really come out of nowhere.
60 home runs?
Oh, no. His pop has been exponentially large this season, but as a player, he's not come out of nowhere.
No. I know he's always been a great player, but
yeah,
the 60 home runs.
But I mean, even then, we're
talking about 46 last year.
No, we're talking about one season. We're talking about the MVP of this season.
I understand. That's why
I think Aaron Judge is the best hitter. I think Cal Raleigh.
I guess you're not catching what I'm saying without saying it.
I think Cal Raleigh is the most valuable player in baseball this season.
Fair enough. Cecil wants to know, as a longtime Astros fan, this run has been over since 2023, hasn't it? I know you don't agree with that.
No, I mean, we're talking a team that is setting records for injuries this season. They have you seen their WAR that has been on IL? It's a weird stat.
Yeah, it's one of the worst.
18 wins above replacement on IL.
Yeah.
This season. That's incredible.
Preacher Man wants to know the Cubs made the playoffs. Yes, They have made the playoffs. They are one win away, I believe. They need to win one of their last 3 games to clinch the top wild card seed, which I guess in the grand scheme of things matters because that at least you're playing at home. That first you play the worst. I don't know. Whatever. It matters just a little bit to be the number 1 wild card team. Just a little bit. Rainy Cajun wants to know what's wrong with the Mariners. Give them a break. Gabe is an Astros fan.
That's same division as the Astros.
Right. That's it. Nothing more than that. All right. I will see you Monday for Mono e Monday. It should be interesting. By the way, and then one other thing Randall asked, you did not give an opinion. You don't have an opinion one way or the other on the Saints or whether they cover or not.
If I had to pick, my score prediction would be 27-10 Bills.
Okay, so that would be just over. That would
just over, but I'm not confident in that.
Yeah.
I'd like Zach said, and like you said, I think they're just gonna kind of hold them at arm's length and just get this game over with as quickly as possible
and get back home.
Move on to more important things.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see what happens. Again, we'll see you on Monday for Mono e Monday. Have a good weekend.
Sounds good. You too.
Last couple minutes here, if you want to get something in. Brian says Cal Raleigh is the MVP for him. No doubt. Not doubt if Astro's healthy, they win the division and likely in the ALCS again. Mm-hmm. Randall's determined to get in it. Now didn't you say that already? You going 41-13 Bills? I thought you said that already. Look, I'm gonna repeat myself. Who cares? My show, I guess I can do whatever I want. I just think look, too many people judge everything they see by what they just saw. Okay. Saying the Saints I feel the same exact way. I literally feel no different about this football team today than I felt 1 month ago on August the 26th before they played a regular season game. I feel no different. I don't feel better. I don't feel worse. I'm not changing my record prediction. I said on August 26th that they were going to start 0-4, and so many people came in here and say, they're not going to start 0-4. They'll beat Arizona, or they'll beat what? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to. It is what it is. But people don't realize that the people who know what the people who really know what they're talking about set this line at 15.5, which means it's probably going to be right around that. One way or the other. It's probably not going to be a total and complete domination, and it's probably not going to be a Saints victory either. I don't care if you think that Buffalo's the best team in football. Maybe they are. They might be the best team in football. But generally, the difference between the best team in the football in the NFL and the worst team in football in the NFL is right around 2 touchdowns. So there you go. And if they were playing on a neutral field, Buffalo would be about a 13.5 point favorite. They're playing in Buffalo. It's 15.5. Started out at 16.5. The people with the money disagree with you. The people with the money are betting on the Saints. Not by leaps and bounds, but they're betting on the Saints because it's too many points. Okay? My point is, we'll come back on here Monday and we'll talk about it. If I'm wrong, if the Saints get their ass waxed, they lose by 30, then I'll do what I rarely have to do and tell you you're right and I'm wrong. I know that sounds egotistical. It is what it is. It's a fact, though. Usually on Monday, we come back and I was right. If the Saints get their ass waxed, I'll come back Monday and I'll tell you were right and I was wrong. I don't think they're going to get their ass waxed. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to play a competitive game. I think it's going to be a different kind of game. It's definitely going to be. Look, think about all the things that went wrong in Seattle. I'm not making excuses for them, but like Zach said, they got the ball first. They marched down the field, not getting on the rat, but he made 2 bad plays on 3rd down and 4th down. I don't think they should have gone for it on 4th down, in my opinion. That's a whole different story. We never even got to that because the rest of the game was so bad. But if the Saints can score on that drive and 3-0, then you have everything that can go wrong goes wrong. Give up a rushing touchdown. You give up a passing touchdown. You give up the special teams, just go AWOL. It is what it is. Louis Jacobson says he's a diehard Saints fan. They can't score points. They're scoring points. They're not scoring a ton of them. They're scoring right around 20-ish. In fact, let's see where they rank points per game. It's probably not good. Let's see. Live TV, Derry. You're on live. I know I always do this, but it's easy to look up. And here it is. Points per game, they're 29th in the NFL. So that's not good. Scored 13, 21, and 13. It's not good. But I think that they go out and score somewhere between 16 and 22 points this weekend. And if they hold Buffalo to 30, it means they cover. And if they lose 30-17, is it good? No, it's not good. but it's a gauge. I mean, every game this week is a gauge. Like Rocky said, just keep it respectable. See, Preacher Man's, he's going the, I mean, he's any given Sunday, groupie late field goal with no time left on the clock and the Saints win. Preacher Man, I would be praising you if that happens. I will put you in my lead. I might even have you on the show if that happens. Rocky says just keep it respectable. Just play better, as Chad said. Just play better. That's what Saints fans really, no Saints fan, well, I'm not going to say no Saints fan. Very few Saints fans are realistically expecting their team to win this week. In fact, a lot of the same people who said they would win 10 games are saying they're going to lose by 50 or 40. I mean, some people want them to lose by 40. That's a whole different story. You know, we don't talk about that here. But the point is, what you really want to see more than anything, realistically, is to feel better about this team today than you felt last Sunday. That's not hard to do. They were terrible. Go out there and give it. Don't look like you spent an entire afternoon on a yacht, for Christ's sake. Go out and bust your ass. And if you bust your ass and it shows that you busted your ass and you still get beat pretty handily, then so be it. But no one can say they busted their ass last week. Looked like they didn't want to be there. It looked like they didn't practice all week. I know they did, but it didn't look like they did. And for the love of Christ, Chase Young, when are you going to get on the field? Don't get me started on that. Well, I can't get started because we're at the end of the show. You want to, now that's something I'll get on. I mean, this dude, you want to talk about stealing? That's stealing. Chase Young's doing. But Saints let him do it. Maybe the Saints' decision for all I know. Anyway, we had a lot of great comments again. I thank the family for being here. Again, Mono E Monday. You know how it works. Mono E Monday, where it's just me, it's just you, it's Gabe, and we all talk. And you tell me what you think. I tell you what I think, and Derry's dime, and we'll have fun with it. That's Monday, September the 29th, 11 a.m. Central Time. Then Wednesday is our guest day. Still haven't come up with a good name for that. Doug Mouton is going to be here next Wednesday. We haven't had him on the show in a little bit. WWL, see, Buddy D, the ghost of Buddy D sometimes lives in me. WWL TV sports director, Doug Mouton, he'll be here. I know I keep saying I'm going to get someone from the other side. I keep trying. I guess I'm not trying hard enough, because if I tried hard enough, it would happen. And then on Friday, we'll be doing the same thing we did today. October 1st is next Wednesday. Can you believe it? That will wrap it up. Our last Friday show of September 2025. I want to thank today's guests, Damon Singleton, Zach Ewing, Gabe Henderson, UBN to some extent with his technical difficulties, and you are more than our guests. You are our family. You know that already. We hope you can, again, join us next for Mono E Monday. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. Give us a thumbs up. Rocky says, great show. Thank you so much. S. Callie, have a great weekend. Go Tigers. Black Preacher Man says, if I can click on it, I think I can. Another great show. Enjoy today as always. Chad Gage says, thank you. Brian Cavett says, great weekend, everyone. And Charles Mangus says, after the season is over, there's some of my Dattitude family as guest stars. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Might happen. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And find a replay of the show at NOLA.com/sports. Catch me tonight on Varsity Sports Now, play-by-play, as Shaw takes on the number one team in Class 2A, Lafayette Christian Academy. Everyone have a wonderful, glorious, fantastic, just remarkable weekend. Go Saints. Go Tigers, and roll wave. That's right. I said it. Roll wave. We will see you all on Monday. Take it easy, my friends.